I don't know if Jason Furman is on Charlie's list of invitees, but it would be interesting. That would be a sort of an Algonquin roundtable. The former Barack Obama economic advisor with us right now, Jason Furman. Jason, good to see you again. Thanks for coming.
Good to be here.
We were just talking earlier as well about, the troubles with this post-pandemic world and the accompanying inflation. Looking at how the Biden administration is responding to that, what do you think?
There's two things that are happening simultaneously. Last week, we got news about the unemployment rate falling dramatically, labor force participation picking up. This week, we learned about the lowest unemployment claims in 50 years. That's all really good news. And then today, we got some really bad news about the very high inflation rate and very broad inflation rate that's hurting families across the board.
Do we need then, you hear this a lot, particularly from Republicans, $2 trillion worth of additional spending that could worsen that inflationary picture?
Look, I like Build Back Better because I think investments in preschool, child care, and clean energy are important. I respect that a lot of Republicans have a different evaluation of those programs. I don't think anyone should really be debating the inflationary impact of that. It's going to be relatively small over the medium and long term. The Fed can offset it. It's largely paid for. So I think the whole inflation debate is a red herring and is just being used because it's the most convenient argument. Let's debate on the merits. Is it, a good or a bad way to invest in children, for example?
Yeah, and people look at other parts of it, whether it really will make that much of a difference on the price front. But leaving that aside, I am curious what you make of how this has progressed under the Biden administration, first dismissing the inflationary problem or seizing on what could be just a temporary drop in energy prices, owing more to do of late with the Omicron virus and the skittishness that resulted from that. And now recognizing that Americans going to the grocery store and other stores are seeing it for themselves. I mean, have they mishandled this on an EQ front? What do you think?
Maybe on an EQ front, they have. 6 months ago, I think they could have been doing more to talk about the pain of inflation and less to talk about how inflation was transitory. In fairness, most forecasters did expect it to be transitory. I didn't expect it to be transitory, but a lot of people got it wrong this past year. I don't see what they can do about it right now. It's really, at this point, the Fed's job. The Fed needs to pivot. The Fed needs to stop loosening and start moving towards tightening if we're going to get inflation under control.
I think you're right about that, Jason. God knows I hear from viewers when I say, you can't blame all of this inflation on Joe Biden. And, of course, having said that again, I'll get still more emails. But my point was and is, when you come out of a pandemic where essentially the whole economy was in park, any pickup in activity is going to seem jolting, and with it the commensurate pickup in demand for limited supply. So that is neither this administration's fault or that of the prior one in the middle of the pandemic. Having said that, though, the question then becomes, what, if anything, can be done within the executive branch or the legislative branch, or is it all on monetary policy to reverse this? What do you think?
I think it's mostly on monetary policy to reverse this, and monetary policy can work on a scale of 1 to 2 years, and people are feeling pain on a scale of 1 to 2 months, and there's just not a lot you can do about that.
When you say 1 to 2 years, I'm sorry, are you saying that this inflationary situation goes on 1 to 2 years?
I'm saying if the Fed makes changes now, that would affect inflation 1 year from now.
So if you have a 10-year, I keep jumping rudely, Jason, I apologize, but if you have a 10-year now, 1.46%, and a little more than, 3 weeks ago, we were around 1.70%, the bond market seems to be saying it's not inflation that's the problem. It's a slowdown that could be. What do you think?
Yeah, the bond market is a strange creature, always, especially true right now when the Fed is still playing such a big role in the bond market, so it makes it harder to interpret those signals. But definitely when you have the short end of the curve has gone up, the long end of the curve has come down, that's always a reason to be a little bit scared.
That usually presages a slowdown. Usually, that phenomenon usually presages a slowdown. Do you think we're in for a slowdown?
I hope not. Look, I mean, we're going to have some slowdown, right? I mean, this year is turbo-fueled growth. We're not going to be able to have this year's level of growth going forward for the very good reason that we're going to be closer to where we want to be. I'm worried about risks in the economy, but broadly speaking, on the real economy, I feel good. It's inflation where I feel bad.
You know, I always say inflation is in the eye of the beholder, Jason. If you're an old fart like me, you do remember the 70s. You do remember a 21% plus prime rate. But for a younger generation, a much younger generation, going from 3% to a 4% mortgage is cataclysmic. So impression is everything. Do you think Americans are prepared for that? The impression of rates that go up, not to the point that I can remember, but higher than where we are now?
Yeah, I have the very self-serving view that anyone who was born before 1970 is overly scared of inflation. They think the 1970s might be coming back again.
Right.
Anyone born after 1970 just doesn't appreciate inflation, doesn't worry that it could be real. It's really only me, Neil, that actually understands it, understands it can be a problem, but isn't too worried about it.
Well, you're not alone on that count. Jason Furman, thank you very, very much. Very good seeing you. The former top economic advisor to Barack Obama. Following that, or